Hi, my name is Katie Leszynski, and I'm a current senior theater arts major at Loyola Marymount University. Today, I was lucky enough to sit down and talk to Diana Burbano. Diana Burbano is a Latinx playwright and actor living in downtown Long Beach. She writes plays that showcase real Latinx women creating opportunities for Latinx artists all across the nation. One of her most notable works is Ghosts of Bogota, which won the New Voices Festival at Actors Theater of Charlotte in 2019, where it will be produced in 2022. She was a member in the Geffen's Writers Lab through 2021 and was in Center Theater Group's 2018 through 2019 Writers Workshop cohort. Diana has also worked on projects with South Coast Repertory, Artist Repertory Theater, Breath of Fire Latina Theater Ensemble, Center Theater Group, and Livermore Shakespeare Festival. She is currently a teaching artist at the Breath of Fire Latina Theater Ensemble and South Coast Repertory. As an actor, she has notably played Leona in the show Somewhere Over the Border, an online play at Arizona Theater Company, and was Viv the Punk in the cult musical Isle of Lesbos. Her awards include the 2021 Jane Chambers Awardee for Excellence in Feminist Playwriting, the Rella Lossie Award at the Bay Area Playwrights Conference in 2019 with the Alter Theater, and the Dramatists Guild Fund for a DGF hashtag Right Change Scholarship in 2015. She is such a talented woman and inspiring artist. She was kind enough to sit down with me and discuss her background, what she loves about theater, and what her current works look like. Here's our interview. All right, so do you want to just introduce yourself a little bit and maybe talk about what got you into theater, what got you into playwriting?
Oh, sure. So I'm Diana Burbano. I've been a professional. I've been an actor since I was 12. I got my equity card at around 18, I think it was. Last I checked, I think it was that long ago. And I've been in the industry for, more or less most of my life. So I started as an actor, and I started writing because there just weren't any roles for Latinx performers, especially women of any interest. In fact, we were just talking about West Side Story. I played Anita, so I did that. So I did the one. And then I also, I was a musical theater performer, so I did a few other ones like that. But when I aged out of the available roles, there was literally nothing. There's if you can even think of women's roles in the canon for Latinx women, I would love to hear it. Anything that's not Lorca, I would love to hear, because we don't have anyone in the canon. I can think of 3 that were on Broadway, and they were very small and sort of stereotypical roles. So that's why I started writing. And I started writing initially for myself. I wrote a play with my partner for us to perform together about the artist Ana Mendieta and her husband, Carl Andre. And then I just realized that once I started doing that I preferred the writing process to the acting, because I just felt like I had more of a voice. And it's been really exciting to write parts for other Latinx women, so they don't have to go through what I went through as a young person, an actor.
That is so awesome. Yeah, we've been talking a lot about like how we're in a class called Latinx Spirit and Drama, and we're just looking a lot at how a lot of Latinx artists felt this way. They have to create their own opportunities because there's just not enough roles out there for them.
That's true. I mean, if you look at the most of the popular, well, sort of popular Latinx playwrights that are writing today, like Luis Alfaro, Caridad Svich, Sandra Delgado. I mean, most of us started as actors and just had nothing, no voice. I mean, I remember the thing that really, really cemented the idea of me being a playwright is I went to go see a play called LMNOP. And there was a character in that show, a Latino gardener, right? And he existed solely as a joke. Like, his name was Hose B, because they already had a Jose. And I just wanted to stand up and like throw my shoes at the stage. I was so angry. I was furious. I can still remember how angry I got. And I thought, no, this isn't it. This isn't it. If we don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And so that's
Wow.
definitely an erasure or a lack of knowledge I mean, I say to a lot of people, I spent most of my youth, if I wasn't being hypersexualized, I was playing gang girls. And then when I got a little bit older, I was playing gang mommies and or nannies. I played a lot of nannies, and which was hysterical because I would have to pay somebody to nanny my child while I was off playing a nanny on television, getting paid, 20 times what the woman who was nannying my child was getting paid. But still, that's what my face was to,
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Well, what was my next question? Oh yeah, what was the process then like when you wrote your first play? How did you get it published? How did you get your name out there?
My first play I wrote with two rather brilliant colleagues who taught me everything that they taught me everything they could. So my partner is already a writer, and then we teamed up with another friend who is a director, and we basically devised a piece for the two of us. And I would write the woman, and then my partner would write the man part, and we would get back together and we would come together to do the dialogue. So I think that's really how I learned to do it. And then I just kept writing, and I read a lot of plays. I watch a lot of theater. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And the process has been a real interesting one because I don't suffer from imposter syndrome at all. In fact, I suffer from maybe the opposite. Is I am very, I might be a titch arrogant and think I can get done. And one of the things that I really learned to do was not wait for something to be perfect to send it out into the world ever. I never wait for perfection. I finish a draft. It's usually good enough. I send it out because I can always fix it. And most of the time, I think my writing is interesting enough that people read it and think, oh, there's really something there. Because I read a lot of plays and I know what a good play is, even if it's not all there on the page yet, but I know that the writer is capable of it. So, and I really think it's not just Latinx writers, but I think a lot of women especially suffer from this idea that if the play isn't perfect, you should never send it out. I don't believe that. I think just let it out into the world, tell people how great you are, let them get to know you, let them decide, right? And that's been really valuable for me. So I submit to everything. I send my play out everywhere. I try to meet everybody, and I'm not shy about it.
Do you feel like at the beginning were you always this confident, or did you grow like as a writer to kind of get to this place now?
I've always been this confident
That's
because
awesome.
because I'm a creature of the theater, and I have been since I was 12 years old. I mean, I know what the theater is. I don't know what movies are, and I don't know what television is. So I don't have that kind of confidence for that, but I know what a good theater piece is.
Yeah.
And I also know what I want to see, and I also know that what I do really well is Latinx women.
Mm.
That's what I do really, really well. And I can do it. I know I can, and I know that I do it right. And I know that that's my specialty. So no, it's not so much that I'm like super confident. It's that I feel like I'm writing content that nobody else is writing. So if it comes across their desk, they're going to be like, oh, what's this? Because literally I don't know of anybody else who's out there who writes like middle class Latinx characters in middle class situations that aren't border stories, that aren't trauma stories, that aren't, I mean, I know that I feel a need. I know there are writers out there who haven't had their work seen, but I feel like it's such a niche that what I do,
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. Do you find that there are any common themes or any common characters that show up in all of your plays, or are they all about something different?
All my plays are very different. I've written about the silent movies. I've written about World War I. I've written about sexual abuse trauma. I've written about primatology. I've written about DNA. I mean, they all have in common is that the leads are always Latinx women, always. And sometimes the protagonists or the antagonists are too, most of the time, not all the time. So I write a lot of roles for Latinx women. And they're not likable, and they're generally not doing anything romantic. It's not about romance, and it's not about babies, and it's not about domesticness. It's always about like reaching for, I think if my plays have any theme, it's that the women are always reaching for like understanding of their own brains,
Mm.
their
Yeah.
own way that the way they think exists in the world is what they're looking for.
That's so interesting. And you're home based in LA, right?
Yeah, I'm in Long Beach. Mhm.
Are there any Latinx theater companies that you find yourself working with a lot, or any that you would like to work with in the future?
I work, well, I'm I'm literary manager at Breath of Fire Latina Theater Ensemble.
I saw that.
Yeah, I'm also, my writing partner is Damaso Rodriguez, who was the artistic director at Artist Rep up in Portland, but he has left that position. Um, you know, I work a lot with Latinx theater, Latino Theater Company. I'm commissioned by them. I have a commission from Hero Theater, but I really want to work at like the Lords. I mean, if I have a goal, it's to be at OSF, you know, or to be at the Goodman in
Yeah.
Chicago.
Awesome. What inspires some of the plays that you write? Are they brought on by your own life experiences, or is it, like you said, just stuff that you would like to see in the theater?
Some of the things are, there's always a thread of things I really enjoy. Like I write about punk rock because it's something I love. I have a play that was in, but a lot of the times they're inspired by things I've read. Like I heard an NPR interview with Linda Ronstadt when she was first ill with Parkinson's. And I thought, God, I love Linda Ronstadt. I want to, wow. And then I just kind of came up with an idea that sort of worked around Linda and her illness and what that would be like for women in rock and roll, as opposed to men in rock and roll, and how women aren't really allowed to age. So, and then the one that I wrote about primatology came from a conversation that I overheard about orangutans and how they mimic people. So mostly it's about things I hear. Like I'll hear something interesting and I'll write about it usually.
Mhm. And how did the pandemic impact your writing or even your artistic work at Breath of Fire? What was that like for you?
I have to confess, I've actually had a lot of success during the pandemic because
Good.
I got a lot of commissions. So I spent a lot of it writing. I wrote 7 new plays.
Wow.
Yeah. Not all of them are done, but I felt like I had nothing but time and I was eager to write. I mean, some of the not all of them are great, you know, but some of them are interesting. I think one of them is pretty interesting. I mean, I spent a lot of time kind of keeping myself in the, you know what, Katie, is what I really want is to be in the theater. Like I want to be a
Mhm.
person in the theater. So I kept my toe in as much as I could. I saw as much theater as I could. I taught. I just, if somebody invited me to a play online, I would go see it. I would always be there just to stay in.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to also just support other people all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And if I couldn't take an opportunity, I would give it to somebody else. I would say, hey, Marisela, there's this thing, I can't do it. Do you want the info? Or because that's how I got my shot. Is Octavio Solis had read a play of mine and he recommended me for something. And just that one recommendation took me from like really scrabbling to all of a sudden, you know, I'm in a different league. And so I hope to be able to do that for somebody else, you know.
Awesome. When you get an idea in your head for a play, like what's your process on writing it?
I research a lot. I research and research and research, and I watch a lot of shows and I read a lot of books and I read a lot of articles. And then I just start. I don't plot very often, although I should because it makes life a lot easier. But I just kind of start and I let the characters talk to me for a while. And sometimes I'll do whole drafts that I toss out and just keep like one idea or 2 ideas, and then I'll do it again until the characters are kind of telling me what they want to say. And one of the things that I do a lot is repeat myself until I find like where it belongs. And then once I find out where the repetitions belong, I cut them. And that's when the play sort of begins. The play sort of starts in like in a nucleus and it sort of forms around in that way.
Yeah. I'm writing my first screenplay for my screenwriting class, and that's how it was. It started with
Yeah.
one idea, then I'd write 10 pages, completely scrap the 10 pages. I got to 50 pages once and then scrapped 50 pages. Like it's really just like a working, you just
Yeah.
keep
It's
that
just like
one seed.
totally, you just got to get your brain like cooking.
Yeah.
And
So
then
I
one
started
day
theater.
it'll cook, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I started theater around like when I was like 12 as well. What got you into theater though? I wonder if it's like a very different story.
Um, I got into theater because I still have a lisp. In fact, it's gotten worse that's one thing that's definitely gotten worse during the pandemic is my lisp. Uh, so I got put in to do recitals to try and fix my speech impediment. And I just loved it. I think I loved it. I started in school, I played Wilbur the pig, and I thought it was the coolest thing that ever happened to me in my life. I had so much fun and I loved every minute of it. And then when we could, I started auditioning for things that were just a little bit more, like more professional. Like I started in children's theater, and then I started in like a slightly more elevated children's theater that was semi-professional. And then I would just keep doing it. I just loved it. I still love it. I
Yeah.
have to confess, you know?
No, it's my drama teacher once told me, or she told the whole class, we were all seniors and we were there on like a Monday night, like 10 p.m. And she was like, if you find yourself in this room still after years and years and years, then there is nothing else you should be doing with your life. Like if this is what you're thinking about doing, like you should be here. And
I
that just stuck
agree.
with me because I was like, there's so many other things I could be doing. I could be doing my homework right now. I could be playing
Right.
soccer. Like I'm in the
Anything.
theater. Anything. If there was anything else I could be doing, I would be doing that. But
But when it's good, it's so good.
oh, good.
So good.
What's kind of your favorite play that you've ever been in? Do you still
My
act?
favorite, yeah, I do. My favorite play that I've ever been in, it's so funny. It's one that I did I mean, it's always like the last one I was in, but I did an online version of this new Wizard of Oz story written by Brian Quijada called Somewhere Over the Border, where I played the Cowardly Lion as a Guatemalan nun
Whoa,
who wanted to be a
interesting.
rock star.
That
I
is so
mean,
interesting.
it was so fun. I mean, it sounds weird, but she was a fun
No,
character.
I'd love to see that.
And just the fact that the Cowardly Lion was a woman was really cool because it kind of broke apart like how women are expected to be in like situations like that.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I love that part.
Oh, awesome. How do you feel like the Latinx theater community is in LA? Like, do you feel like it's a very tight-knit group of people, or is it kind of more spread out?
I mean, we all know each other.
Mhm.
Um, we no we do, we come together like when Diane Rodriguez, who passed away at the beginning of the pandemic, had a memorial at Center Theater Group. It was literally like everybody from Northern California to San Diego had just came to celebrate. And so it's really funny because we really do all know each other,
Mhm.
and of course we all talk shit about each other, and we also like uplift each other,
Yeah.
I think it's a good community. I do feel like we like to fight, but and we could be a little bit better about like uniting for things. In fact, I'm actually on a thread on Facebook right now about that. But it is pretty tight knit, I think. And I wonder if it's hard for people who like for young people, for new people to get in, because I mean it is kind of old guardish right now. So I imagine like when everything really does reopen, we're gonna have to be like, all right, open your doors, don't be so selfish, let people in. We need more young
Mhm.
people in.
Yeah. Do you produce a lot of your work at Breath of Fire, or do you kind of give some of it to other Latinx theater companies in the area?
I most of my work has actually my work is being produced in San Diego and in North Carolina, um and San Francisco. I haven't actually had, I don't think I've had anything produced in LA in a while.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna have a piece done in LA, but I had a real problem with the person who was producing it was a real problem, somebody I didn't want to work with, so I decided to pull the premiere.
Hmm. So, how has your identity as a Latinx artist impacted your career or the work that you've created?
Well, I mean, it's just part of your bones, isn't it?
Mhm.
It's just part of your bones. I mean, when I was younger, I tried really hard to separate from it. Like, I'm not Latinx, I'm just an artist. I'm just this. And I've spent a lot of time trying to be that, but then I didn't get work in that. I didn't get work. I would never get work that wasn't Latinx specific ever. And I'm a trained actor, I trained in England. I'm trained in Shakespeare. I'm trained in classical theater. I'm actually a pretty well trained performer, but I couldn't book work unless it was like specifically like, oh, we're doing a Latino Macbeth.
Mhm.
Okay. So that was hard because your identity, you because I was told in acting school that you can play anything. Oh, you're versatile. You can do this, and you'll get cast in everything. I got cast in like Dangerous Liaisons and Crimes of the Heart and all this stuff. And I think that was not the best thing to do to me because I
Mhm.
came out of that and nobody was going to cast me as Babe in Crimes of the Heart in real life. Nobody. They didn't see my face doing that. So that was hard to really like make that jump. Actually, there was a casting director named Martha McFarland at South Coast Repertory who really liked me. I don't remember what I auditioned for her. Oh, I know. She was teaching a class in monologues, and she really liked me. But but she'd never called me in, except that for the one time there was a Latinx play project that was like perfect for me. It was like the right kind of Latino character, you know, because I'm not a border character. I don't play that. I never did. I don't. It's not. It just doesn't seem real because it's, you know, types are really a thing. And I learned that, especially being on the other side of the table. Like, it's not that actors can't play anything. They can, except that sometimes an actor brings something on stage that is very specific, and you have to just honor that in them, I think. So I do have to thank Martha, because she really believed in me and gave me a really great part. And I think just the fact that she did that kept me going for a really, really long time after that.
Awesome. What has been your favorite play that you've written or seen done of yours?
Oh, I love Ghosts of Bogota. I love Ghosts of Bogota. I was produced right before the pandemic, and there was a moment of like magical chaos where the leading character is in a church with her grandfather's ashes, and she takes off her dress and she's wearing Wonder Woman underoos, and I was like, this is my aesthetic. I love all of this.
Oh my gosh, I love
It
that.
was so fun.
Where was
So
that
fun.
produced at?
Alter Theater up in the Bay Area.
Alter Theater. So when you find out that your play is being produced somewhere, do you go see it a lot of the time, or?
If I can afford to, yeah, if I can afford to, or sometimes, you know, you can like wangle an invitation. Most of the time they'll invite you for like opening night.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so awesome. Um, so as a theater community, what can we do to lift up our actors and playwrights of color?
You know, especially for actors, I feel like collaborate with the actors. Like, make sure that I have a group of actors that I absolutely love, and I write for them. I write for them because I think I want to be the one that they go to and like, hey, Diana's like, I have an actress named Juliana who has worked for me since she was maybe 22. She's been like a muse of mine, and she's in my play down in San Diego now. I just feel like, to me, collaboration is super important as a playwright, as an actor, as a theater maker. Like, it's a community of people. So, and actors are so important. I just want them to know there is no play without you. So you mustn't let anybody make you feel like lesser than, you know?
Yeah,
It's so important. Actors are so important.
it is really important. Yeah. What's your favorite part of the theater? Like what makes you keep doing it?
I don't know. I just
Same.
I just love it. I mean, it's so stupid, but like, I did a play called American Mariachi, and every night I would listen to the opening announcement, because I opened the show, and I would listen to the opening announcement, and I would get so scared, and I'd want to run away, and it'd be terrifying, and it'd be exhilarating, and I'd step on stage and the light would hit me, and it's like, who doesn't want, I mean, it was like magic. I still get chills thinking about it. When the light hits you, you're just like, okay, this is exactly what I dreamed of as a little tiny kid would happen.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's looking at me and the lights on me. I mean, it's, you got to have a really finely tuned, like, you have an ego, but you also have to be like humble enough to be able to take notes and be collaborative. I don't know. It's a very strange thing to do for a living, I have to say.
Definitely a balancing act.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
What has kept you in LA then? Not maybe like going to New York, or like you said, you study abroad. What kind of brought you back here?
You know, I've always liked LA. I mean, my family's in LA. I have a son and I have a partner, and I also, there's just, LA is where I really discovered like who I was and who my community was, and I would really like it. I mean, I would love to go someplace else, but I think I would really miss LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from Seattle.
Oh, are you?
Yes, but I just feel like LA at least has also been like, it's not weird to study theater here or do film versus in Seattle. I tell people I'm doing the arts and they'd be like, You're gonna make a career out of that?
Right, right. Oh, really? What are you doing for real? Like, guess
Yeah,
what?
like
This is it.
I'm like,
Yeah,
no, that's what I'm actually gonna do though. And here
right,
it's
right.
like that's awesome. That's a normal accepted thing. So I really like the community in LA.
Oh,
Everyone's
good.
so
That's good to
artistic.
hear. That's good to
But
hear.
you said you studied in London. What was that like? When did you do that?
I did that like the late 90s. I studied for I did one term for 6 months and then I did another term for three. It was so fun. I loved everything about it. I love the way English actors um I love the way they build character. I love the outside in idea, you know, the costume and the hat and the hair and how that can really help as opposed to like because sometimes the American like that method of like dig deep and figure out what you know where your thoughts really are. That didn't always work for me, but man, sometimes if I put on a funny hat, it would just the character would be there. You know what I mean? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I love language plays. Like I'm obsessed with Tom Stoppard and I was obsessed with restoration comedy and I just love language plays. And that's
Yeah.
something the Brits do really, really well.
Yeah, they do, really.
Yeah.
I really want to study in London. Like that's been
Oh,
my
you
goal for a
should. You
while.
should. Absolutely. It's totally worth it.
Any recommendations of where I should try to look at?
Well, I mean, the RSC, the Royal Shakespeare Company and the National always have things for young actors.
Okay.
Go because the thing is you end up like studying with the top of Britain,
Yeah.
right? It's like Ian McKellen will walk in, and maybe not anymore because now he's a movie star, but it will be like these kind of people will walk in and give you a class and you're like, what? You know what I mean? Because it's more of it's just it's an actual like I don't know, the actors are just they're both elevated and they're also just people and it's more of an it seems like more of an accepted thing to continue traveling between film and the theater for them.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment when your career, either as a playwright or an actor, where you were like, I don't think that I'm supposed to be doing this? Or have you just always known since you stepped in the theater at 12 years old?
Well, I was really done when I mean when I hit my 40s and it was like I'm so tired of playing nannies I could just cry. But
Yeah.
I never wanted to quit. I never wanted to quit. I just wanted to figure out how to do it differently.
Mm.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for young actors or especially Latinx artists that are kind of starting early, like me?
Yeah, I guess my advice would be just first of all, believe in yourself. Don't worry about the naysayers. Be optimistic, but not like stupid about it, which is like just be optimistic and hopeful, but yet also like work really hard and know that it's going to be hard, right? I always tell my students, like, you're going to live a little bit like a student. Like, if you want a fancy car or a really nice house, or maybe this isn't the career for you, but if you can cope with not being wealthy and maybe shopping at thrift stores, I don't know, it's hard, but it is so much fun. It, but, and a lot of it is that people will constantly try to tell you it's not for you or that somehow it's impossible. But I feel like they do that because their own dream of whatever it is kind of been shut down by other people. It's so important to dream and we need storytellers. Like that's the entire human race depends on storytelling. So there it is a possibility. It is just like just know your shit, study up, know people, be warm to people, make a contact. Like now we know each other, right? Like in 6 months, contact me and say, hi Diana, this it's Katie and I did this, that, and the other thing. And I'll be like, oh, cool, Katie, that's right. Oh, hey Katie, I have blah blah blah. Do you want to come do a reading for me? I mean, things like that happen all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's so true. I
Like
mean,
make those connections and keep them. That's the best advice I can give you. If you make any real like connection with somebody, like don't pester them, but just keep it. Even
yeah,
if it's just like, I'm gonna friend you on Instagram and I'll invite you to my play. Like it that's how, because the whole thing is relationships.
that is so important. Did you
Yeah.
ever write any plays that you then ended up acting in?
Um, I have like been asked to, but I've been sort of reluctant to do it. Yeah, there's a couple of plays that I specifically wrote for myself, but I don't know. I love watching other people do it. I get such a big kick out of it.
Yeah. Have
Yeah,
you
and
ever
it's
directed your work?
no, I'm not a director. I'm
Okay.
definitely not because I'm not visual. I'm not very visual in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said kind of that you stay mostly in the theater. Have you ever dabbled in film or like wanted to do acting for film and stuff?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do. I do film and television, but I mean, like, it just got boring. Like I said, I did a lot of police procedurals where I'd play either crying mothers or, nannies. I just shot an episode of Snowfall, and I played ultrasound tech, and then I'm doing this crazy movie in Mexico where I'm some kind of gun runner. I don't know. It's really
Oh,
weird, but at least it's not a nanny, so I'll go check it out.
that is so cool. Dang.
It's really funny. It's
Well,
hysterical to me.
how do you balance it all? Like being a playwright, and you said you have a son, and also being an actor. Like, how do you kind of stay grounded?
Good question. I don't know. Thank God for my partner.
Mhm.
He just keeps me really like humble. We
Yeah.
just yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what are kind of some of your plans for the future? Like, you have these 7 plays. Are any of them being produced? Are you almost done with them?
Yeah, I'm working on a play with Lower Depths that we should be doing a reading in March. That's going to be kind of exciting. And then I have a production of Ghost of Bogota going up in January and a production of Sapiens going up in February. And so things are kind of like creaking back. So we'll see what happens in the
How much
future.
as the playwright are you involved in those? Do you get to go to like all the rehearsals, or do you just kind of like let the director do the work?
At this point for those plays, the 2 plays that have already been written, I'm just letting them do it. For the Lower Depths one, I'll be involved in the workshops until I'm ready to let the play go, I think.
Have you ever like given a play to a theater and kind of stepped back and then
All
come
the
to
time.
opening night and you're like baffled by what they did?
Sometimes I'm a little baffled, but a lot of the times I feel like when I do that, I feel like it's because the play is ready enough. And usually there haven't been I haven't had any really terrible surprises. So
That's good.
yeah.
Um, well, I think that that's the majority of the questions I had for you.
Oh, good.
Um, Trying to think of if I have any that have come up. I mean, I'm so in awe of like your career and how much you've been able to do. Like,
It's just like I just tell everybody, just go for it, just do your best and go for it. And there will be a lot of disappointments, but there'll also be a lot of like, you'll get a lot of no's, but every once in a while there's a little yes tucked in there that will be like, okay, follow that yes.
yeah, so I mean, honestly, would you just have any advice for me in general or for like my whole class? Most of us are seniors, like graduating, entering the theater slash film community, kind of make connections, you said, but like any other like little nuggets of wisdom for us?
Yeah, keep your group. If you have friends, if you have a cohort, if you have people you trust and love, just keep them close, keep people really close, because you'll need that. So because sometimes your heart gets a little bit battered in this business, but if you have people you can talk to and people you can laugh with and places you can go and hang out and have fun, like just have fun. I mean, that sounds dumb, but find the joy in things. Don't just find the don't just get super disappointed because you didn't get the call back. Like, also find the joy, because you probably won't get a lot of the callbacks, but you might, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just, don't let people get you down, I think.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. And keep your friends close. Keep your friends close.
Okay, I have one more question. What
Yeah.
kind of sometimes I find myself getting like extremely like uninspired. Like sometimes I
Yeah.
just can't find the drive within myself to either, drive a character
Oh,
or to
sure.
drive like writing a story, like the screenplay I'm writing. Sometimes I'll hit like extreme writer's block. How do you find yourself like getting inspired? Like how do you light that inspiration?
Sometimes I just watch stupid television, or I just disengage from, I mean, it's, yeah, I'll just let myself watch something maybe dumb, or read something, or just not worry about it too much. And then also what I do with my writing is I just let it be bad. Like, just let it suck for a long time. Let it suck, and you'd be surprised how much it doesn't suck once you come back to it. I think perfectionism is a real enemy of that. I think writer's block a lot of the times is actually just like perfectionism, um that, oh well, it's never going to be good enough, so I'm just not going to keep doing it you
Yeah,
know yeah,
that's
just
a
like let go of as much of perfectionism as you can.
that's a good idea. Just let it suck. Just sometimes
Just
just
let it
write.
suck, let it suck.
That's a really great idea.
Maria Fornes used to say, if you think you're writing a masterpiece, you're not. You're just not. So don't worry about it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like every actor should try to dabble in playwriting a little bit?
Sure. I mean, I think every writer should check out acting, and every director should be an actor. I think, yeah, I think so, because it is a collaboration. You really should know what other people are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was lovely to meet with you.
Oh,
Thank you
same.
so
Thank
much
you.
for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure. Sorry it took me a while to get back to you.
You are so fine. Well, thank you so much. I'll stop the recording.